9. Jutsus Kakashi has but doesn't use. When it comes to Kakashi, it's never too much. He is, without a doubt, the man. He has gained several nicknames over the years, from Friend Killer, Bloody, to even the 6th Hokage. But there's one title that marked his life, the Copy Ninja. He has the reputation of being the man who copied over 1,000 techniques, and it's a fact that he's the one who has used the most jutsus throughout the series. But what are the jutsus he has in his arsenal but doesn't use? And why does he leave these techniques aside? Let's see that now. We can talk about Naruto, Sasuke, Guy all we want. But we can't escape Kakashi. Sooner or later, we always come back to him. Kakashi is one of the only characters in the series who was able to use all 5 natural elements and techniques. You know who else did that? Madara Uchiha, Nagato, Hiruzen Sarutobi, Hagoromo, only big fish, folks. His affinity has always been lightning, but Kakashi's genius created this almost unique condition for him. And it's very cool to see how he can use this gift in combat thanks to the Sharingan. If you fight against Kakashi and have any jutsu of any element, the chances of him copying that ability and beating you are high. And anything he copied, he can use. So Kakashi's experience weighs heavily in combat. Alright, he copied over 1,000 techniques, so I'm going to talk about 9 of these techniques that he created, or acquired, or copied, and that have already been part of his options. Many of these jutsus would still be useful today in Boruto. But none of these techniques is as powerful as smashing that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our content. Let's start with something easy. 8 Inner Gates Technique. Yep, Kakashi can use the 8 Inner Gates, the same technique that Lee and Guy used throughout the series. It's not exclusive to them. Kakashi worked hard, trained hard, and figured out how to unleash this power, increasing his physical strength to achieve feats that would be impossible. If you know the gates, you know that the side effect of this technique is difficult to deal with, and since Kakashi is Kakashi, he's not going to bet on a dangerous ability. Moreover, Kakashi has shown he can only open one of the 8 gates, and the real advantage of this technique is to go beyond and open other gates to gain more powerful boosts. So he keeps this technique stored, gathering dust. Genjutsu. Sharingan people underestimate the power of genjutsus that are not made with the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi has always had this eye capable of applying an illusion to the opponent, from minimal distraction to paralyzing the victim. And well, this power was once part of Kakashi's arsenal, and it's not anymore. No Sharingan Genjutsus, but I always thought Kakashi used this ability sparingly. It could be used more. Raikiri and Chidori. These 2 techniques were created by Kakashi himself, forged and patented while he was still a whippersnapper. And the difference between them is almost none. Chidori was created to pierce through any enemy's defense at super speed, and Kakashi used his lightning affinity to the fullest, but the technique was incomplete, and only Obito's Sharingan provided the necessary perception for this jutsu to be viable and lethal. Raikiri came shortly after, being a more concentrated version of Chidori. And since Kakashi is without the Sharingan at the end of Shippuden, this jutsu became incomplete again. So it's safe to say that this technique lost all functionality for Kakashi. At least he created a substitute for Raikiri, in the form of Shiden. Rasengan. The most iconic offensive jutsu in the series was created by Kakashi's squad leader, Minato. Of course, Kakashi learned how to perform this technique. After all, the guy is a genius. In fact, Kakashi's plan was to put lightning release into a Rasengan and create a more powerful technique, but that was impossible, and Kakashi decided to create another jutsu. So, because Kakashi has more affinity with lightning, he much preferred to use Raikiri in battles. Leaf Village Secret Finger Jutsu, 1,000 Years of Death. Ah, who remembers the finger jab Naruto took? This jutsu is practically a meme after all. Its combat use is almost useless. If Kakashi wanted to humiliate the enemy, maybe it would be interesting. In fact, Naruto used this technique more times than Kakashi did. Can you believe it? And one of them was against none other than Gaara, substituting the finger for a kunai with an explosive tag. Anyway, it's clear that Kakashi retired this secret technique. Dynamic entry. We found out thanks to Sasuke that the Sharingan can copy things other than ninjutsu or genjutsu. Rock Lee's exclusive taijutsu ability was partially replicated during the Chunin exams. And do you really think Kakashi didn't take the opportunity to copy Master Maito Gai's dynamic entry? Of course, he copied it, and he can use this fighting style like Gai himself. This ends up being useful in combat, but since Kakashi has various ways to deal with enemies from a distance, he sets this ability aside, even though it's very useful. Genjutsu, Hell Viewing Technique. Remember the survival test? Kakashi was showing Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura that they needed a lot of training to overcome a Jonin. While Kakashi beat Naruto with taijutsu and immobilized Sasuke with ninjutsu, Sakura was the target of this genjutsu. He puts the target in an illusion and lets them experience their worst fear. Sakura's was seeing Sasuke on the verge of death, and that vision was strong enough to make Sakura faint. The rank of this technique is low, being a rank D technique, so it shouldn't work on the ninjas Kakashi normally faces, and that already makes clear the reason why he doesn't use this ability. Ice Release. Ice Whale. This technique only appeared in the first movie of The Land of Snow, so it's easy to say that this ability is non-canon, therefore it's filler. That's why Kakashi doesn't use this jutsu. But it's curious to note that Kakashi copied an ice element technique, meaning a Kekkei Genkai. Kakashi said he couldn't copy ice when facing Haku, so is there a plot hole? Well, there's no plot hole, because this technique is nothing more than a water release, not ice release. Or rather, Kakashi used the ice around to create this horned whale. Unlike Haku, who could create ice directly from water. Water release, water dragon technique. A classic! Kakashi copied this jutsu from Zabuza in the Land of Waves arc, and it had some use in the series. This technique doesn't need water to be created, but it's much more powerful if the user doesn't need to create the water, meaning it's situational. So Kakashi doesn't use this technique in every fight. And to close Shadow Clone technique, I said the Rasengan is the most iconic offensive jutsu in the series, but by far, the most iconic jutsu of all is the Shadow Clone technique. And yes, Kakashi can use this technique, but a problem with this technique is that it divides the user's chakra, and when I say little chakra, Kakashi already starts to sweat. However, he can use this ability more often today in Boruto, precisely because he no longer has the Sharingan, which constantly drained Kakashi's chakra even with the eye covered. But why use Shadow Clone when Kakashi's place now is relaxing in the hot springs of the Fire Country? Say it.